All right, I am starting over here because the other one didn't start and wouldn't allow me to start it. So we are going to be on this side. Let me clean off this camera. And I think that's going to fix that glare in the back. Okay. Yeah, it did. All right, greetings. Good to see everybody. Happy new Gregorian year to everybody. We made it. So this is a moment of celebration. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad we are here, right? We have lived through another 365 days. That's something to rejoice about. As you come over, can you guys put the link for this stream and the other stream so that people can know to move over? And as we do that, I will light my candle so we can get it popping. I was listening to some Shaka, but can't let stuff play in this day and time. YouTube will flag you, won't nobody be able to see it. So we had to let Shaka go. But we still feel her in our hearts.
But Cardi won't flag you.
Come on, I'm on live. My son is suggesting that we listen to Playboy Cardi. Still, YouTube is going to flag that. YouTube don't discriminate. All right. So we are going to get started with our libation. And then after that, we will do something a little bit different this year, but I just feel like it's something that needs to be done. And then we'll move on into the divination after that. So for my libation, I always like to add a little Florida water to bring some sweetness into whatever situation I'm opening. All right. Omi tutu, omi tutu, omi tutu, tutu ori, tutu emi, tutu aye, tutu laroye. Iba she olodumare oba aterere kaye. Iba tiwo ojo, iba tiwo ohun. Iba olera gere afoko yeri. Iba rumela ileri ipin. Iba igba rumele ojo kotun. Iba igba rumele ojo kosin. Iba kanlingi irinwo rumele. Iba akoda, iba ashera. Iba wanya afinjueje. Mojua bogbo egoni dele miembele selu dumare ibaye orun. Ibaye by turun. Iba wamba watunu. Iba oluwo. Aba odobolo fatamisha. Iba ojubono bogono mera hojko vizunu. Iba projito nojito wivizunu. Iba ilo sheshango iniola. Iba fatai fabimro. Iba faliri fabimro. Iba bogbo ideli amoshan. Iba bogbo ideli fabimro. Iba agbomola. Ni orisha. Iba Osa Meji Village, Nigeria. Iba Abeokuta, Nigeria. Iba Oyotunji Village, South Carolina. Iba Oba Asejima Adefumi the first. Iba Oba Adeyugbi Adefumi the second. Iba Dismal Swamp. Orisha Kosi Iku. Kosi Patibo. Kosi Wahala. Kosi Ofo. Fuma Alafia. Fuma Ire. Fuma Owo. Fuma Iwakwele. Shurfa Marie. Jekel Rio Mi Oberi Rishumi. Mushurfa Marie. Ashe. All right. Let's see what Oshun has to say on our journey for this upcoming time period. So we are well aware that life begins and things are rebuilt anew during times when things are warm, during times when we are facing the sun and closest to the sun. However, all over the world, Black and brown people were aware that during this time of the year in this hemisphere, we are beginning the long ascent back into the light. So that is why we have all of these celebrations and festivals at this time of year. We've been in the time of darkness and we're moving back into the light. So this time is the time that we celebrate having made it through the longest night of the year, which is winter solstice, and moving back into the light, right? From the 21st forward, more and more light will be growing. So this is a celebration of that, among other things. My neighbors are still reveling in the new year, so you might hear some fireworks. You know how black and brown people get down. Okay, we're going to invoke Oshun. Yoruba mi ṣe oore ye Oshun. Yoruba mi ṣe oore ye Oshun. Adindi Oshun ṣèkèṣí olúwa irun. Oshun. Moriye o. Abeni aro abebe aro Oshun. Waniko ila ile ke waniko ila ile yi. Yami ko yesun. Ye kari wayari. Ogara kushe ibo ayana juba ye. Ashe o. Okay, before we start, I want us to do what we call J5, which means you eat your Odu. So if you have a godparent, you should know your Odu, and they should walk you through the steps on how you eat your Odu. But the eating of your Odu helps your Ori, helps your mind to stay focused on your goals and the reasons that you decided to incarnate in this lifetime. So it's something that you should do at least once a week, but I wanted us to start this year by doing it as well. So you mark your Odu in your Yerosun, you feed your Ori with it, and then you feed yourself. So your godparents should be teaching you how to do this. All right. Let us see what Oshun has in store. We will share as much as we can. Try to fix the camera so y'all can see a little bit more. Okay. I came around. First leg of our Odu is Osa, O-S-A. Let me be sure. Second leg of our Odu is Osa. So our Odu for this year is Osa Meji, M-E-J-I, Osa Meji. Osa comes twice. Wait. Wait, baby, yeah. And we are in a B in Obara Osa. So this is a year of EB. So we got to check and see what offerings we need to make to remove these obstacles and blockages. Okay. So to remove the EB, we are going to make an offering at the cemetery. Ruling Orisha for this year is Dambala. Ruling Vodun for this year is Dambala. Accompanied by Oshun. All right. So let's get into Osa Meji. Let's get an understanding of Osa Meji so that we'll know what to look out for this year and what to expect for this year. Osa Meji is an Odu, Osa, I'll say, is an Odu of change. It is the Odu of the sacredness and the holiness of the action of change, the energy of change. So we know that this year will be a year when we will experience huge changes, big 360-degree changes, right? A difference from where we were that will be like a complete turnaround. So what you want to remember is to be open to change, to embrace change. When we see Osa, we know that everything begins in what we have been taught to interpret as chaos. Everything begins from a state of chaos. If you've watched me, if you follow me, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, but the environment of the womb is a spermicidal environment. You began in chaos, right? And you came into the world in a state of chaos. So everything begins in chaos. This is a year where we will be experiencing that type of upheaval. The most important thing to remember when you're in upheaval is that the other side is always calm and the other side always has gains. You gain something once you move through it. So great change. We should be expecting change. This year, it will be incumbent upon us, this is another lesson in Osa, to properly utilize our spoken word, our foashe, our bara, the power of our spoken word, especially for women and femmes. This is extremely high in women and femmes. So you want to properly use the power of your spoken word. What does that mean? That means, first and foremost, say what the hell you mean, right? Don't talk around what you mean. Don't try to say shit that you think is going to make everybody else feel good. Don't be out here saying shit that you don't really mean so that you can fit in with the crowd. Say what the hell you mean, right? Speak what it is that you want. Don't be afraid to talk about your big, gigantic destiny. Don't be afraid to talk about your huge desires. Now, let's throw that caveat on the side of that. Don't be out here talking about your big destiny and your huge desires with the assholes that you know gonna say that you can't have that. That ain't what we talking about, right? That ain't what Oshun is saying. But in the company of those who you know can be positive, or while keeping your own wise counsel. Talk about your big dreams, your huge dreams, right? Those big, gigantic things that you have been taught to be afraid of having. Those big, gigantic things that you have been told you can't have. This is the year to speak about those things. Talk about what it is that you want. By the same token, don't be out here talking about what you don't want, right? Don't be talking about what you don't want. Let that be what it is. Leave that where it is. Don't be lending the ashe of your voice to shit that you don't want, to shit that you're not interested in, to shit that can't do you any good. Don't give any part of your spiritual power over to that. All right? Osa lets us know that this is a year for us to make sure that we set a regular schedule for honoring our ancestors. Honor your ancestors. That is what you're made of. We see online a lot, I'm not my ancestors. But scientifically, you actually are. You're made up. Your body is made up literally of the body of those people that you come from. And as I was saying yesterday at the Hoodoo conference, the 2022 Hoodoo conference that you should have been at, but I know you're going to be at the one next year. Literally, your ancestors are your default programming. So you have to honor your ancestors. You have to stay in communication with your ancestors if you want to be sane. This is what my godfather, the Metahochi, Kofi Omwale Zanu, taught to us. To be sane, as a person of color, as a Black or brown person, you have to stay in communication with your ancestors. There's no other way to maintain your sanity. And by sanity, I mean the ability to comfortably and freely, mentally exist in reality, exist in the physical realm. In order to do that, you have to stay in contact with your ancestors, and you have to know who and what you come from. First and foremost, because it's your default programming. If you know your ancestors, then you know what you liable to do. That's how we say it in the country. She liable to do so, right? You know what you liable to do if you know your ancestors, because that's in your bones and in your blood. And if you don't want to do those things, you know that you have to actively make a conscious decision to do something different. Now, if you know your ancestors, you also know your strengths. You know your power. You know what you're capable of, right? And you know that you don't really have any limitations if you take the time to know your ancestors. Now, let's talk about ancestors a little bit more. When we hear the term ancestors, when people throw around the term ancestors currently, we are usually speaking about national freedom fighters or national people who have done big things for our nation. When I say our nation, I mean specifically I'm talking about Black people in the United States. Larger, I'm talking about Black people all over the world, right? But when we talk about ancestors, we're usually talking about national heroes, right? For our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, maybe talking about Nanny or Kojo, things of that nature. So that's what we mean when we say, the ancestors, so-and-so and so-and-so. When I'm saying ancestors in this context, I'm talking about grandmama, granddaddy, and them. Auntie, mama, daddy. I'm talking about literally the ancestors that gave birth to you. Now, from our perspective, if you were adopted, that family chose you, that family is still your ancestors. You had a contract with that family in the spiritual realm before you decided to be born. So you don't have to wonder about that. Outside of that circumstance, when I say ancestors in this context, I mean your family, your familial ancestors. This year, create a pattern and a practice of speaking with your ancestors, right? The days that work for you, the times that work for you, but at the very least once a week, talk to your ancestors. Hear what they have to say to you. Listen to the wisdom that they have to give. Sit at their feet and be fed by them. Now, I'm going to add to this. And it's always good to have an ancestral altar. It's always good to go to your ancestral altar. It's always good to talk to your people at your ancestral altar. However, the old folk used to say, where I'm from, pray without ceasing. And so when I think about pray without ceasing, I think about be in communication with your ancestors without ceasing. Talk to your ancestors without ceasing. Your ancestors are literally in your body. So while you can go to a beautiful altar and light a candle and some incense and turn on some drum music and do all of that, you can also be driving down the street in your car and say, ooh, y'all, it's a rough day today. Y'all help me to get through this. Y'all give me what I need to get through this. You can also say, this traffic is about to make me late for work. Is there an alternate route I should be taking, y'all? Should I just not go into work today? You can always be and should always be in communication with your ancestors. Communicate without ceasing. Speak to your ancestors without ceasing. This is important. Not even important, this is essential, because there is nothing that you are experiencing that your ancestors haven't experienced. There's nothing. Anything that you're going through, out of your tens and thousands and hundreds and thousands of ancestors, some of them have gone through it as well. And so they're waiting to offer you some advice on how to deal with it. They're waiting to embrace you and to hold you close and to say, it's fine, baby, we're going to make it through this. They are waiting to fulfill your every desire and your every wish. Well, we want the baby to have that. The baby sure do like that so-and-so. Let's make sure the baby can have that. That's who your ancestors are. That's what your ancestors are doing, right? So be in constant communication with your ancestors, while at the same time setting a formal time that you formally go before your ancestral altar and do some things for them at least once a week. All right, be open to that. This will be a year of many, many ancestral revelations. This is going to be a year when your ancestors are going to speak to you, whether you open the floor to them or not. They're going to be talking to you. So be ready for that. That's not strange for us, right? That might be strange for other people. We ain't talking about them. They ain't centered here. I don't know them. I don't know their lives. But for us, that's not strange. So this will be a year when your ancestors will be talking to you. Expect to have spiritual communication. Expect to have dreams. Expect to have visions. Expect to be hearing them and seeing them and smelling them. And pay attention to what they are saying to you. Keep you a little notebook. Get you a little notebook you can keep in your backpack, your little purse. Get you another notebook you can keep under your pillow. Get you some notebooks that you can keep around so that when you hear the word, you can write it down and refer back to it as needed. This is going to be a year when you're going to hear those things. This will be a year when we have many ancestral interactions, and those can only be good. Your ancestors are going to give you warnings. Your ancestors are going to send you signs. Your ancestors are going to big you up, they're going to be like, good job, good girl, good boy, good person, right? But they will be in communication with you. So be ready for that. Be ready for that communication, and don't be nowhere, talking about, whoa, wasn't expecting to hear grandmama. Oh, that sounds like my mama, because I'm sitting right here telling you that it's going to happen. So you ain't got to be surprised, right? Purpose of the reading of the year. We ain't got to be surprised. Now, another thing that I've told you, if you have been working with me, is that you are the authority in the spiritual realm. So when I say that you're going to be in communication with your ancestors, that does not mean that your ancestors get to come and disrupt your life, right? They can't just be sitting on the table when you're doing the presentation at work, right? They can't pop up and sit beside you in the car when you're driving back from the club. Mine had did that one time. They can't just be sitting at the foot of your bed. Make sure that you speak with your ancestors and let them know what type of communication with them that you are open to. You are the authority in the spiritual realm, in the physical realm, because you're the one that's physical. So make sure that you assert that authority so that that communication is not disruptive for you. You know how you best want to be spoken to. So make sure that you make that clear to your ancestors, because they're going to be talking this year. They got some stuff to say this year. Now, we want to make sure we're properly using the power of our spoken word. We want to make sure that we're staying in communication with our ancestors. And we want to remember that our ancestors are our moral guide. Oh, yeah. What do you mean by that? What does that mean? Right? What that means is if you wouldn't do it in front of your grandmama, then you ain't got no business doing it. That's what that means. If your grandmama would be like, girl, what is you doing? When you did that, you probably ain't got no business doing it. Now, be honest with yourself about who your grandmama is. Don't be out here lying. Don't be out here making up narratives about your grandmama that ain't true. I'm going to give you an example. My grandmother raised me wearing booty shorts and halter tops. That was my grandmama as a child. Full head of gray hair, booty shorts, halter top, right? So the stuff I can do in front of my grandmama is going to be different from what some other people can do in front of their grandmama. But know your people, right? Know your people. If it would make you ashamed in front of that person that you hold the most reverence for, if the way that you're treating yourself would make you ashamed, then you know you ain't got no business doing it. You know you ain't got no business doing it. Your ancestors are your moral guide. Let them be that. Listen to them. Also, understand that everything that happens now, everything that is currently happening is built on something else. Everything that you do, everything that you are is built on what your ancestors did before you. This is why we listen. This is why we ask. This is why we pay attention. This is why we pay homage. Because it's literally built on that. We're literally built on the things that they did. So in many ways, the lives that we live are going to be different. In many ways, the things that we achieve are going to be different. In many ways, the things that we have access to and the resources that we're afforded are going to be different. But they're still built on that, right? So many things we can say now that our ancestors couldn't say. So many things we're capable of doing that our ancestors couldn't do. And I'm saying this because when I say, don't do it if you wouldn't do it in front of your mother, I'm not talking about the things that your mother wouldn't let you do because she was scared that the patriarchy was going to shame you for those things. I'm not talking about those things, right? We're living in a different time. I mean, if your mother would say, you too good for that. Don't let nobody treat you like that. Don't let nobody talk to you like that. And you better make sure them people pay you your money. You better go out there and get your lick back. That's what I'm talking about. I don't come up here saying, well, my mother, would have frowned upon me, not doing this gender specific thing. That's not the part we're talking about. People had those kind of norms because they were afraid of what would happen if they didn't keep those norms. So we ain't talking about that part. Let that part go. If they had been as free as we are, they would have let that part go too. So you let that part go. We are literally talking about the person that you know yourself to be, your highest self on the inside, and the way that your family tried their best to speak to that and lift that up. Don't be doing things that are beneath that particular person. That's what I mean when I say your ancestors are your moral guide, because I don't want nobody to be unclear, and I don't want nobody to be out here feeling shame. Don't be out here feeling shame. Do your thing. All right. So we are in Ibi, in Obara Osa. So what we want to be careful of this year, what we're going to have to watch out for this year is being extreme. Uh-oh. And that one is just for me. I know that's for me. That's for me. My children in here laughing at me because that's true. So Obara is an Odu that warns against the negativity of being extreme, right? Anything done in excess is harmful, even if you consider it to be something good, even if you consider it to be something healthy, even if you consider it to be something good for you. If you do it in excess, it is going to harm you. So Obara lets us know that part of how we are going to keep negativity at bay this year is not being extreme. Be balanced, right? Focus on that middle ground. Learn how to be comfortable in that middle area. Learn how to be comfortable in that gray area. That is difficult for us as human beings. It's one of the most difficult lessons that we have to learn on this planet and in this plane of existence, this physical plane, is to be comfortable in the gray area. We are at ease when things are what we call black and white, right? We are at ease with these fake pretend binaries that we've created that don't really exist in reality. But we try our best to move in those spaces. They make us feel like we know where we're supposed to be. This year, you have got to make peace with that middle ground. Teach yourself how to do it. In any situation, when you find yourself being extreme, pull yourself back, right? No extreme ways of eating or not eating. No extreme ways of sleeping or not sleeping. No extreme ways of exercising or not exercising. Nothing in the extreme. Everything as balanced as it can possibly be. My spiritual teacher said that all of the ashe, all of the power in the universe is held by the ancestral mothers, the Iami, right? The source of all, the womb that pushed everything out, right? And they do not bless anything that's not balanced. So you want to stay in balance so you can have access to your ashe. And this year we have to stay balanced to ward off negativity. So anytime you feel like, ooh, it's a lot of stuff coming my way. What's going on? I feel like I'm battling out here. This year, you want to pause and say, okay, what ways am I out of balance? Right? And you want to try to right that as much as you possibly can. Okay? All right. The rest of what's going to keep us out of negativity is Osa. So that's everything that we've been talking about. Speak properly, stay in communication with your ancestors, be aware of the patterns that you have that come from your family that you either want to change or continue, right? Be aware of those things. Now, our offering for this EB is to take an offering to the cemetery. So this is an offering to Oya, and this is an offering to Egun. So Egun translates into bones. Egun means those who done gone on, right? Those who are no longer on the physical plane. So we want to make an offering to them at the cemetery. My suggestion, strong suggestion, is either you go to the cemetery where your people are buried, if you're, close enough to do that, or you go to a Black cemetery in your area to make this offering. Find where the Black cemetery is in your area and make this offering. You want to make this offering of all of the beautiful purple food and drinks you can find. I ain't no wine connoisseur. Luckily, I got adult children. They're going to help me find a beautiful red wine. And if I do drink wine, it ain't never red unless it's super, super sweet. But a beautiful red wine, small bottle, because you're going to put it in a basket, right? Some beautiful grapes, a beautiful bunch of grapes, beautiful eggplants, beautiful plums, any kind of lovely purple offering you're going to take and put it in a vessel. You can do a black vessel, you can do a purple vessel. And let me think what else you can add. Put you some pennies in there. Put you some copper. 9 pennies. Take that to the cemetery. When you take this to the cemetery, 2 things. First thing, you always want to be thankful to the ancestors for all of the sacrifices they made in order for us to be here. This is why I'm saying do it at your family cemetery or at a Black cemetery. And second thing, you want to ask Oya to always keep your communication with the spirit realm open and to always make your changes for the better. So make your offering at the cemetery as soon as you possibly can, because this is how we are navigating this EB. So let's talk about EB. We are in EB this year. This is a year when we're in EB. EB is a type of, or is the energy of challenges, right? You're working through challenges. That is the nature of life. Challenges are not anything to fear. Challenges definitely are not anything to avoid, right? You are not going to thrive. You are not going to become what it is that you decided to be physical to become without challenges. Challenges is the nature of this realm that we live in. So when we say this year is NEB, we know we have challenges this year. We are giving the opportunity this year to learn how to navigate challenges. All right. Our head deity for this year is a Vodun, Dambala. So we got a lot of ancestral energy swirling around us this year. Dambala is the Vodun that is the totality of all of the ancestors, right? So this is the head deity for this year. Dambala's color is white. Dambala's holy symbol is the snake. So if you think about getting a snake, this is a good year to do it. I was thinking about getting a snake. My children ain't gonna let me get one. I'm just saying. Y'all, the rest of y'all people who got that kind of freedom, y'all go and get your snake. But Dambala's symbol is the snake. So all of that snake symbolism that is associated with us, all of the snake symbolism that is associated with voodoo, vodun, hoodoo, root working, that is from this, one of these sources of that is this particular deity, Dambala. Dambala is ruling this year. That lets us know there will be a lot of ancestral interaction. That also lets us know that our deep, long memories, our DNA memories, our genetic memories, our memories from past lives will be very much activated this year, right? It's going to be those qualities that people call deja vu. All of those things that happen and you're like, oh, I feel like I've been here before. Oh, I feel like this has happened before. There will be a lot of that this year. And what did I say? Pay attention to it, write it down, keep a record of it. As you keep a record of it, you begin to understand better how you communicate with your ancestors. So, homage to Dambala. Dambala is also one of the deities that encourages us to move. So because of that, I would suggest to make sure that you're dancing, make sure that you're moving, make sure that you are giving your body motion. You created this body with the expectation of movement. So you want to be moving this year in honor of Dambala, especially those serpentine movements, right? Okay. Dambala is accompanied this year by Oshun. Oreye. So moving into an Oshun year, the lessons that we will be working with, first and foremost, lessons of introspection, looking within. A lot of people say Oshun didn't have a mirror in Nigeria. The mirror was something that was added by Catholicism, etc., etc. The water was the first mirror. Oshun has always had a mirror. Well, what would Oshun be out here doing without a mirror? It's ridiculous. And also there is an ancient brass fan in Nigeria that Oshun used. And when you shine it up just right, that's a mirror too. So when we say that it's a year of Oshun, introspection, look within. What I can promise you is that every time you look within to find the solution to a challenge, you will find a solution that is tailor-made for you. Every time you're facing a challenge and you say, what can I do to make this better? The solution is going to be tailor-made for you. When we see Oshun, Oshun is letting us know that this is also a year of cleanliness. Okay, so that means external, keep your house clean, keep your body clean. That also means internal. Keep your internal clean. Drink your water, take your herbs to clean out. When you feel yourself to be clogged, when you feel yourself to have a lot of mucus, or you feel yourself to be extra sluggish, take the herbs that you need to clean out. One of the names for Oshun is Lade Koju. It means spirit that cleans me from the inside out, right? So when we say it is a year of Oshun, it is a year of cleanliness. No nastiness, no messiness, no foolishness, no drama. Don't be participating in it. Don't find yourself out there doing that. If that's something that you did in the past, this ain't the year to do that. It's a bad year to engage in that. All right? When we say it is a year of Oshun, we know that it is a year of love. What does that mean? Love is that ability to connect with others. Love is that ability to harmoniously have a deep connection with someone else. So this is a year when that will be happening. Be open to love on all levels. Be open to repairing relationships with family, love relationships with family. Be open to receiving romantic love, right? And when you find romantic love, remember to always love yourself first, right? Make sure that those people that you love feel love from you. Y'all don't hear me though. Amen, lights. I'm tell you what we be out here doing. We have people in our lives, our children, our husbands, our wives, our lovers, our mates, our good friends. And we look at those people and we say, I love one of my favorite things to eat in the morning is a little scramble I make with fake eggs and plantain. I love to eat that. That is so good to me. I am happy when I can get up in the morning and fix that. Put a little avocado on the side, right? And so I look at my children and I say, oh, the children are hungry. And I make enough of that for them because I love them. They don't like that. They don't want to eat that. They want cereal. They want something else, right? So then while I am sure that I am showing love, they're not experiencing that as love, right? So make sure that the people in your life that you love feel love from you. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. I ain't talking about no crusties, musties, and dusties now. I'm not talking about people who are not deserving of your love. You going out here breaking your back and stepping and fetch it to try to make that person feel love so they can treat you like a human being. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't be using my words to justify staying in a relationship with a crusty or a dusty, which we've all done. No judgment. I'm just saying it's not what I'm talking about right now. But the people who actually love you and the people who you want to feel your love and who give love to you, make sure that they feel your love. Listen to them when they say the ways that they need to be loved and love them in that way. Okay? I don't believe in no love languages, mostly because I'm greedy and I require all of that stuff that's on that list and then some. But listen to the way the people that you love say that they need to be loved. Listen to the things that they say that they want. Give them those things. That way they know that you love them. That way they feel loved, right? Don't give them what you want them to have. That's not a way of loving people. That is our biggest problem, most of us, with our parents, right? Is that they gave us what they wanted us to have, right? My mother never had her own bedroom. She came from a big family like me, never had her own bedroom. So she made sure that she made enough money that we could always have our own bedrooms. But she was never home. And when she got home, she was always stressed. I wouldn't have minded sharing a bedroom if she could have been home and not been stressed. That's what's important to me. So when I said, I don't feel like you love me, I don't know you, I barely get to see you, she was crushed. Because in her mind, she was giving love by working all the time and making sure that I had my own bedroom. That's what I mean. That's an example of what I mean. Make sure the people that you love feel loved by you. It's an Oshun year. Learn about love. But nothing is more important, and there's no such thing as love coming from a person who does not love themselves. So the most important love and the first love to give is love to yourself. You give love to yourself by not judging yourself. Do not judge yourself. That doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge when you're wrong. That doesn't mean that you don't apologize. What it means is don't villainize yourself. Don't demonize yourself. You done did some wrong shit. We done all did some wrong shit. Ain't none of y'all on here done as much wrong shit as me because most of y'all ain't as old as I am. I done did plenty wrong shit and plan to do plenty more, right? So it doesn't mean that you don't do wrong shit. What it means is that you apologize and you're able to acknowledge it. But You don't judge yourself. You are honest with yourself about why you did things and the choices that you made. Every time you made a choice, it was the best choice available to you at that time, even if it was terrible. There were reasons that you thought this was the best thing to do. And so, no judgment of yourself. Begin with loving yourself deeply. Begin with all of those wonderful things that you want to give to other people. That wonderful morning breakfast scramble that I want to make for everybody in this house. Then I want to wake them up at the time I get up and say, come down here and eat this and drink this green smoothie. That's what I want to do every morning. These people don't get up at the time I get up. These people don't want to drink no green smoothie nor eat a breakfast scramble, right? So all of that stuff, I can do it for myself. And I should be doing it for myself first. And when I take the time to do it for myself, I have the energy and I'm happy enough to ask other people how they need to be loved. When I don't, I'm running off of fumes, which is stress hormones, which is horrible for your body. And I'm mad. I'm mad that they don't want to eat what I want to eat. I'm mad they don't want to go where I want to go. And I'm mad that don't nobody want to drink the green smoothie because I'm running off stress hormones. Most important thing, love yourself first. Most important place to begin, no judgment for yourself. Only love for yourself. Only understanding of your choices. Only acknowledgement that you made the best choice out of the options that were available to you, even if the choice was completely fucked up. That was the best choice in your mind at that time. That's it. Begin with that. That's where Oshun wants you to begin. All right. Let me ask and make sure. I think that is it for this evening, but let's check. Okay, we are good. So the offering that we need to make for this year is an offering at the cemetery. Do that as soon as you possibly can. Our ruling deities for this year are Dambala and Oshun. Dambala's color is white. Oshun's colors are gold, yellow, orange. So those will be the colors that you're going to wear when you need to be in your power this year. The overarching message, be ready for change. But remember that it is a change for the better. And also remember that you are equipped, that you came born equipped with everything that you need to handle this destiny. There's nothing that this destiny can throw at you you're not ready for. All right. Y'all know how we do. Ecstasy, abundance, and bliss. To all of those within the sound of my voice who are wishing the same for me and mine. And as always, we wish the lessons of life on those who are ignorant enough to wish us otherwise. You can find me anytime at gottobeoshun.org, GOT, the number 2, the letter B, OSHUN.org. And next week, we will be resuming Witchy Wednesdays. And I'm not surprised that Oshun said this is her year, because our next lessons that we'll be going into are called Into the Honey Pot. Those are the lessons that I'm creating for you now. All right, my sabbatical is over. So those of you all who wanted divinations, please feel free to go and schedule one on the website. Happy, happy, happy Gregorian New Year. Please celebrate. Please pat yourself on the back. You did it. You made it. You the baddest, right? All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Peace.